Today, I want to talk about boundaries. Boundaries has become sort of a buzzword these days because there is a realization that we need to be able to make a clear distinction between me and what's not me, and to be able to maintain healthy boundaries. But you know that biologically, boundaries are vital for survival. And there are basically two features to healthy boundary systems biologically. The first aspect is our skin. And it is funny to me that the word for skin in Latin is integument, but it has the same root as the word integrity. Isn't that kind of cool? We need our skin to be intact to keep the bacteria and the viruses and funguses and all that stuff outside of our body, because there is an inside and an outside. And when our skin is compromised, we're in trouble. People who are in burn units in the hospital with large amounts of their body surface burned, they are really subject to infection and they're in trouble. They need major external protection at that time with all kinds of silver and antibiotics and all kinds of stuff. Because once the skin is compromised, once our boundaries are compromised, the vultures move in to clean up. It's, not evil, it's just part of nature. And I hope you know where I'm going with this, because eventually I'm going to make a parallel to our emotional boundaries and our psychological boundaries. Our second line of defense physically is the immune function. Once these bad guys get in, we have these white blood cells and natural killer cells that recognize the fundamental recognition that this is not me, this does not belong. Oh, I hope you get where I'm going with that also. Once they recognize that this is not me and this does not belong, they are not nice about it. They go and to neutralize and to kill, reject. These are not nice words. Kill, reject, neutralize. Our repulsion response that even babies have is a natural indicator that there's some things that are good for us and some things that are bad for us. We have a whole lymphatic system, which is like a filtration system. Once these things get in there, these lymph nodes capture bacteria and bad guys and are able to then congregate the white blood cells there. These are like the killing stations. I'm going to say it. If I get a splinter, a healthy immune system does not say, well, we can live with a little piece of wood. No, it recognizes this is not me. This is not acceptable. And now I'm going to make the jump into psychological land, that we need that kind of discrimination. When we're children, we simply don't have it. Our immune function is primitive. It's developing. We don't have that many antibodies. We even say we receive passive immunity from mother's milk because we're not that separate when we're infants. And we need to learn how to be separate individuals. Our immune function needs to come into its own as a separate entity, doing only for itself. People that have compromised boundary systems compromise their immune function. It is parallel. I've seen it so many times. People that are unable to say no, people that don't do healthy anger, people that don't reject bad things appropriately. These are people who are chronically sick, and even more specifically, these are people who are more prone to get cancer. I'm not the only one that's come to this conclusion. There's a woman named Lydia Tamanachok or something like that, who has written a book called Type C Connection, where she postulates a cancer-prone personality type. These people have these qualities of very poor boundary systems. And so it is really vital that we develop a healthy immune system to the point of badass. I want to have a badass immune function that clearly, easily, and quickly recognizes things that don't belong and quickly, easily, and efficiently just takes care of it, and not necessarily in a nice way. And I have seen people use spirituality as a way to tolerate the intolerable and thereby really dampen their own immune function. And it's not coincidence. It is a direct correlation and, dare I say, even cause and effect. They are parallel systems. The mind-body system is really one system that can't be divided. How we do our boundaries is how our immune function does its boundary making. So we need to learn the ways of the warrior. Yeah, that sounded good. So I'm excited about this kind of information because that means there is something we can do that boosts our immune function by changing our style, our boundary making style. So many people that I've worked with have come into their own well-being by learning healthy boundaries with family members, with spouses, with children, with peers, that sort of a thing. The ability to say no, to stand on one's own 2 feet. This is healthy all around. It's not just good mental health, you know? You can't separate these things anymore. These things are one. We are one. And we are energetically all connected, so intimately that it is paradoxical that we need to learn separation skills. And, Carl Jung called it the process of individuation, where we actually become our own unique self as opposed to, as different from anyone else. And even though we have way more in common than we have separate, we are each unique. Again, paradoxical, but I really do want to punctuate that there is a mind-body connection where it behooves us to learn good boundary making skills in our relationships, in our work life, as social life, etc., so that we can actually be healthy, separate, badass, powerful, empowered individuals. Okay, thank you. Yeah, I want to add one more thing. There are people who say, "Oh, I'm very sensitive," and this and that. And as much in favor as I am of sensitivity, I think it's a good thing. I also find that some people let things get under their skin. Isn't that an interesting turn of a phrase? When you let something get under your skin, you're letting it get to you in a way that's not healthy. So, in a way, we need to toughen our skin. There is an acknowledgement that our skin, we need a fundamental barrier, boundary to the outside world.